I thought I knew my mother. 43 years of thinking I knew the woman who raised me, who taught me right from wrong, who held me when I cried. But standing in her kitchen last Tuesday, holding a bank statement that shouldn't have existed, I realized I'd been living with a stranger my entire life. The numbers on that paper, they didn't just represent money. They represented every lie she'd ever told me, every manipulative word, every time she'd made me feel guilty for wanting my own life. $237,000.
Gone.
Just gone. Let me back up. My name is Sarah, and until last week, I thought my biggest problem was convincing my teenage daughter Emma that she couldn't pierce her nose. I'm a high school English teacher in suburban Denver, divorced for 3 years, trying to rebuild my life after my ex-husband decided he preferred his 26-year-old secretary over his family. Nothing too dramatic, right? Just your average middle-aged woman dealing with the usual mess of life. Mom had been living with us for 2 years. After Dad passed away from cancer, she seemed so lost, so fragile. "I can't manage that big house alone," she'd say, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue she always seemed to have ready. "I'm just a burden, I know, but I don't know what else to do." Of course I said yes. She was my mother. She'd sacrificed everything for me and my sister growing up. Dad worked construction, Mom stayed home, and we never had much, but we had love. Or so I thought. The first red flag should have been how quickly she moved in. I mean, within 2 weeks of Dad's funeral, she'd sold the house and was standing in my living room with 3 suitcases and a smile that seemed different. Sharper somehow. But grief does strange things to people, right? I figured she was just processing differently than I was. Then came the doctor appointments. So many doctor appointments. Every week, sometimes twice a week. "My heart's acting up," she'd say, pressing her hand to her chest dramatically. "The stress of losing your father, you know. The doctor says I need constant monitoring." I drive her to these appointments, sit in waiting rooms reading outdated magazines, watching her charm the nursing staff with her sweet grandmother act. She had this way of making everyone feel special, like they were the only person in the world who truly understood her pain. The medical bills started coming about 6 months later. Thousands of dollars. My insurance covered some of it, but the co-pays, the specialists, the procedures, it was bleeding us dry. I took out a second mortgage on the house. I cashed in my retirement fund. I even borrowed money from my sister Jessica, who lived in Phoenix and was dealing with her own financial struggles. "I feel terrible about this," Mom would say, tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted to be a burden. Maybe it would be better if I wasn't here." The guilt was crushing. Here was this woman who'd given me life, who'd worked her fingers to the bone raising me, and she was apologizing for needing medical care? I held her hand and promised her everything would be okay. I told her money didn't matter. That family was everything. Emma started resenting the situation. "Why does Grandma get to eat out 3 times a week when I can't even get new shoes for soccer?" she'd ask. I'd explain about sacrifice, about taking care of family, about how Grandma had earned the right to enjoy her golden years.
But something was nagging at me.
Little things, like how Mom always had cash for her shopping trips, but never contributed to groceries. How she'd gotten a brand new iPhone while I was still using my cracked old one. How she'd mention restaurants she'd been to with her senior center friends, expensive places I couldn't afford to take my own daughter. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago. Emma needed her wisdom teeth removed. The oral surgeon wanted payment up front, $4,000. I'd already maxed out my credit cards paying for Mom's medical expenses. I had to tell my daughter we'd have to wait, maybe find a cheaper option, figure something out. That night, I heard Mom on the phone in her room. Her voice was different, sharper, more calculating. "Oh, she has no idea," she was saying. "The girl's so trusting, it's almost pathetic. I've got her wrapped around my finger." I pressed my ear to the door, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might burst. This couldn't be what I thought it was. This couldn't be my mother. "The medical bills are genius," she continued. "She never questions them, just pays whatever I show her. I've been using the same fake invoices for months now. Dr. Martinez is charging me $50 to sign off on fake appointment summaries. Best investment I ever made." My legs gave out. I slid down the wall and sat on the hallway floor, staring at nothing. The woman who'd raised me, who'd taught me about honesty and integrity, was systematically destroying my financial life with lies. But it got worse. So much worse. The inheritance money is almost gone, she said into the phone. Your father's life insurance, the house sale, all of it. But don't worry, I've got this set up perfectly. Sarah's been taking care of everything, and now I've got access to her accounts too. Power of attorney for my medical decisions. She signed it without reading the fine print. The room started spinning. Power of attorney. I remembered signing those papers in the hospital parking lot after one of her supposed emergency visits. She'd been crying, saying she needed someone to make decisions if she became incapacitated. I'd signed them without reading them, trusting her completely. I should be able to drain another 100,000 before anyone notices, she said. Maybe more if I play this right. The key is keeping her feeling guilty and responsible. As long as she thinks she's saving her poor, sick mother, she'll give me everything. I don't remember walking back to my room. I don't remember getting into bed. I just remember lying there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, trying to process what I'd heard. My mother wasn't sick. She wasn't fragile. She was a predator, and I was her prey. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't function. I kept looking at Mom across the breakfast table, watching her butter her toast with such casual normalcy, and I wanted to scream. But I needed proof. I needed to see exactly how deep this went. I waited until she left for one of her appointments, and started going through her room. I felt sick doing it, but I had to know. In her dresser drawer, hidden under a pile of prescription bottles, all empty, all expired, I found a folder. Inside that folder was my entire financial life, mapped out and analyzed like a business plan. Bank statements with my account numbers. Copies of checks I'd written for her medical expenses. Photos of fake medical bills. And a handwritten ledger detailing every penny she'd taken from me. But the worst part? The absolute worst part was finding the original power of attorney document. The one I'd signed. She'd whited out sections and rewritten them. Instead of just medical decisions, she'd given herself complete financial control. She could access my accounts, take out loans in my name, anything she wanted. I sat on her bed, surrounded by the evidence of her betrayal, and I cried. Not just for the money, though losing my life savings was devastating, but for the mother I thought I knew. The woman who'd sung me lullabies was the same woman who'd been systematically destroying my life. When she came home that afternoon, I was waiting in the kitchen with all the evidence spread out on the table. She walked in, saw the papers, and her face went through this incredible transformation. The sweet, helpless grandmother mask just fell away. What was left was someone I'd never seen before. "How long have you been planning this?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. She didn't even try to deny it. She just sat down across from me and smiled. Not the warm, loving smile I'd known my whole life, but something cold and calculating. "From the moment your father died," she said. "Do you have any idea how exhausting it was, pretending to be the perfect wife and mother for 30 years? Playing the part of the grateful, selfless woman while he controlled every penny? I deserved better than that life." "So, you decided to steal from your own daughter?" "I decided to take what I was owed. You had everything handed to you, college, a career, a nice house. Meanwhile, I gave up my youth, my dreams, my entire life to raise you and your sister. This isn't stealing, Sarah. This is collecting on a debt." The casual cruelty of it took my breath away.
A debt?
"I'm your daughter. I loved you. I trusted you. And that trust made this remarkably easy," she said, actually laughing. "You always were the gullible one. Jessica would have figured this out in a week, but you just kept writing checks and feeling sorry for me." I thought about Emma, about how I'd explained to her that family meant sacrifice, about how I'd made her feel selfish for wanting things while I was pouring our future down the drain to feed Mom's lies. "Where's the money?" I asked.
Gone. Most of it anyway.
I've been living the life I should have had 40 years ago. Nice restaurants, expensive clothes, trips to Vegas with my real friends. The ones who don't expect me to play the part of the suffering widow. You've been to Vegas? Every month for the past year. I told you I was visiting my sister in Florida, remember? Another lie you swallowed without question. I felt something breaking inside me. Not just my heart, but something deeper. The foundation of who I thought I was, who I thought my family was. I could have you arrested, I said. You could try. But I'm a 70-year-old woman with a spotless reputation and a daughter who gave her power of attorney. Good luck proving I didn't have permission to access those accounts. She was right, and we both knew it. She'd been too smart, too careful. She'd made sure every legal document was in order. Every transaction looked legitimate on paper. So what now? I asked. Now you decide if you want to keep playing happy family or if you want to burn everything down. Either way, the money's gone. You'll never get it back. The question is whether you want to destroy what's left of your daughter's relationship with her grandmother over money that's already spent. It was the final manipulation. Even now, even caught red-handed, she was trying to make me feel guilty for exposing her. Trying to make me choose between truth and family peace. But something had shifted in me during this conversation. Maybe it was seeing her real face for the first time, or maybe it was thinking about Emma growing up believing that love meant accepting abuse. I don't know, but I felt something I'd never felt before toward my mother. Complete, crystalline clarity. Emma deserves to know who you really are, I said. She deserves to learn that love doesn't mean being a doormat. That family doesn't mean accepting lies and manipulation. You'll regret this, Mom said, standing up. You'll regret choosing money over family. I'm not choosing money over family. I'm choosing honesty over lies. I'm choosing to protect my daughter from learning that this is what love looks like. She packed her bags that night. 3 suitcases, just like when she'd arrived. But this time, I didn't help her carry them. I didn't drive her to her new apartment. I didn't cry or apologize or beg her to stay. I sat Emma down and told her everything. Not the details. She didn't need to know about the fake medical bills or the power of attorney fraud. But I told her that sometimes people we love hurt us, and that it's okay to love someone while still protecting yourself from their harmful behavior. Is Grandma a bad person? Emma asked. I don't know, I said honestly. I think she's a person who made bad choices. But that doesn't mean we have to live with the consequences of those choices. Emma thought about this for a long time. Then she said, I'm sorry about your money, Mom, but I'm proud of you for standing up for us. That night, I called Jessica and told her everything. She was quiet for a long time, then said, I always wondered how Mom afforded her lifestyle on Dad's pension. I should have realized. We both should have realized a lot of things, I said. Are you going to press charges? I don't think I can prove anything. She was too careful. That's not what I asked. I thought about it. About justice, about consequences, about what kind of person I wanted to be.
No.
I just want her out of our lives. I want to focus on rebuilding what she destroyed. It's been 3 weeks since Mom moved out. 3 weeks of learning to live without the constant manipulation, the guilt, the fear of never being good enough. 3 weeks of realizing how much of my life had been shaped by her demands and expectations. I'm broke. I'll probably have to sell the house, move Emma to a smaller apartment, start over financially in my 40s. But for the first time in years, I can breathe. I can make decisions based on what's actually best for my daughter and me, not on what will keep Mom happy. Emma's been amazing through all of this. She got a job at the local ice cream shop to help with expenses, and she's been researching scholarships for college. I don't want to be dependent on anyone, she told me. I want to earn my own way. That's when I knew I'd done the right thing. My daughter learned something valuable from this nightmare, that love doesn't mean sacrificing yourself for someone else's comfort. That family means supporting each other, not using each other. I haven't heard from Mom since she left. I don't expect to. She's probably found her next mark, her next trusting family member to exploit. Part of me feels sorry, for whoever that is. But mostly I feel relief. Sometimes I catch myself wondering if I could have handled it differently. If I could have helped her change, gotten her into therapy, found some way to salvage our relationship. But then I remember Emma's face when she realized she didn't have to tiptoe around Grandma's moods anymore. I remember how much lighter our house feels without the constant undercurrent of manipulation. The hardest part isn't the money. It's grieving the mother I thought I had. It's accepting that the woman who taught me to ride a bike and braided my hair and told me bedtime stories was the same woman who spent 2 years systematically destroying my financial future. It's learning to hold both truths at the same time, that she loved me in her way, and that her way was toxic and destructive. I'm in therapy now, learning about boundaries, about generational trauma, about how people can love you and hurt you simultaneously. It's hard work, but it's necessary work. I refuse to pass this dysfunction on to Emma. Last week, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Mom. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry." I waited, expecting the manipulation to follow. The excuses, the justifications, the attempt to make me feel guilty for cutting her off. Instead, she said, "I spent so many years feeling like a victim that I forgot how to be anything else. I hurt you and Emma, and I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that you were right to protect your family for me." Then she hung up. I don't know if she meant it. I don't know if she's really changed or if it was just another manipulation. But for the first time, I realized it didn't matter. Her apology, her sincerity, her future choices, none of that was my responsibility. My only responsibility was to my daughter and myself. That's the thing about betrayal by someone you love. It breaks something in you, but it also reveals something, your own strength. You discover that you can survive the unthinkable. You can rebuild from nothing. You can choose love without choosing abuse. Today, Emma and I are looking at apartments. Smaller than our house, but ours.
Clean.
Free from the weight of lies and manipulation. We're planning a garden for the patio, talking about getting a dog, dreaming about the future. Do you miss her? Emma asked me yesterday. I miss who I thought she was, I said. But I don't miss walking on eggshells. I don't miss feeling guilty for having boundaries. I don't miss being afraid. Me neither, Emma said. I like our life better now, even with less money. That's when I knew, absolutely knew, that I'd made the right choice. Money can be earned back. Trust, once broken, might never fully heal. But peace? Peace is priceless. If you're listening to this and recognizing yourself in my story, if you're living with someone who makes you feel guilty for having needs, who uses your love as a weapon against you, please know this. You deserve better. You deserve relationships that build you up instead of tearing you down. You deserve love that doesn't come with conditions and guilt. It's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to protect your children from dysfunction, disguised as love. It's never too late to start over. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. If you've got a story like mine, share in the comments. Let's support each other. And hit that subscribe button if this resonated with you.